Hurricane Katrina and made Westminster College his second home.
Hurricane Katrina is causing people in our area to think about how they can prepare for such a disaster. We'll help you decide if flood insurance is right for you.
And our On the Road team takes us to a local event where they went hog wild. We're live.
We're local.
The County Line starts now. Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of the County Line. I'm Elizabeth Barry.
And I'm Amanda Hogger. The investigation is still going on in the double homicide case in Taylor Township. Lawrence County District Attorney Matt Mangino met with state police earlier this week to look at all the possible angles of the case. Police discovered the bodies of 2 women over 2 weeks ago, but are still looking into the details of their deaths.
Westminster College has been doing its part in collecting funds for Hurricane Katrina. Groups on campus are donating money for one student from Louisiana who escaped the Katrina wreckage to make Westminster his new home.
Out of Tulane Medical School and brought to Lafayette, Louisiana, and after that they were flown out of Baton Rouge to Girard, Ohio with my family, and was offered scholarships.
You miss about being back in Louisiana?
I think I miss just my friends and just doing normal stuff for me. So it's not a lot of stuff up here we do down there.
Okay, and do you like Westminster so far? What's different about Pennsylvania?
The weather, I'd have to say. This is winter for me, and we're still in the summer months, so I mean it's very nice up here. So.
A Saints flag and hat are the single possessions Nick Mano has to remind him of his home he left behind in Louisiana. Numerous groups on campus have been pitching in to help Nick feel more at home up north, including offering him dorm room essentials. While his family is staying with relatives in Girard, Ohio, Nick will be taking general studies here at Westminster College. Mano was supposed to begin his first-year engineering degree at Tulane University September 4th, the day after Hurricane Katrina struck, but due to the Category 4 storm, he was forced to evacuate.
I mean, other than that, there's not a lot in here right now. I've only had one night to sleep here, so I haven't really destroyed anything yet.
Over a year since floodwaters damaged homes in our area, and while those floods were small compared to the flooding in New Orleans, it's still important to make sure your home is protected. Flood insurance is one way to assure you'll be compensated in case of such a disaster, but insurance agent Richard Vera says most people don't have flood insurance.
And unbelievable that more folks do not purchase it because it is reasonable. For instance, if you're in average flood zone around here, which is flood zone A. Flood zone A, you can buy a $20,000 flood insurance with $5,000 of contents for less than $300 a year. So it's not, and that's based on a frame dwelling with a basement. Now, there's different variables. If you have a basement, it's one rate. If you don't have a basement and it's up higher elevation, it's lesser money. So everything determined, your rate is determined on the construction of your residence, where it's at in the flood zone, and the amount of coverage that you desire.
Some local areas that are prone to flooding include property along the Little Neshannock Creek, Cottage Grove in Wilmington Township, and areas in Shenango Township. If you want to find out whether you live in a floodplain, you can find a zone map at your county courthouse. If you want to add flood insurance to your homeowner's policy, talk to your insurance agent. Flood insurance is regulated by FEMA, who designates private companies to write policies. FEMA also has a program available for those who live outside of flood zones.
Coming up later in the show, Elena Schuring will sit down with EMA Director Frank Giannetti to decide ways for our area to prepare for a disaster.
But first, let's turn to Jolene Slattery for other headlines in the news this week.
Titan Radio Digital 88.9 News brings you local news now.
Good evening, I'm Jolene Slattery with this week's top stories from Titan Radio News on 89 FM. Lawrence County Treasurer Gary Velasco is one county government employee who won't see a paycheck this Friday. Commissioners pulled his gross wages from funds in a bank that would normally pay by direct deposit. Commissioners voted last week to withhold Velasco's pay and benefits pending the outcome of felony charges filed against him. In the state government, votes on the bills to repeal all or part of the legislative pay raise are more than a dozen short of a majority. A bill needs 102 votes to pass in the House. Supporters of the repeal say they'll work to raise enough votes by the time the House reconvenes on September 29th. Republican leaders aren't showing any sign that they will allow votes on the bills. U.S. Airways is one final step away from approval on the merge with America West. On Tuesday, shareholders approved the proposed merger, which is part of U.S. Airways' reorganization plan. Today, the judge overseeing the airline's bankruptcy case was considering the merger for final approval. The two airlines could start operating as one by the beginning of October. The goal is to form a stronger airline that would compete better with Southwest and JetBlue. Governor Ed Rendell says Pennsylvania won't get any more hurricane evacuees on official flights organized by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, but he says the state will continue to welcome any evacuees who want to relocate. One Pennsylvania Emergency Management Agency official said the state is already housing over 1,000 families who escaped from Katrina's damage. That was your 89 on the County Line. To keep up to date every weekday, tune in to Titan Radio for continuous coverage. More County Line is on the way.
After 3 years of construction, $50 million, and a late start to the school year, students at Newcastle High School are finally back at class. Teachers say the first week transition is going smoothly, and everybody loves the new classrooms.
It's a gorgeous facility. We believe it's one of the nicest facilities in Western Pennsylvania. It might be of all Pennsylvania the nicest facility. So
I think it's gone wonderful. It's really a good transition. The students have done well. They've adjusted. You have to remember we went from the oldest junior high school in the United States to the newest junior high school in the state. So the students are just very happy to be in such a beautiful facility, and they've worked hard and they've done well. They've transitioned beautifully.
Okay, this is my first year here, and walking into this building, it's more than what I've ever expected in an art room. It is the state of the art. When the students first walk in, you could tell that they are impressed with the facility. The faculty, they're a lot happier, they have more motivation, it seems. Plenty of storage. The students also take more pride and ownership once they enter this building because it is a new building compared to our older one.
For students, I think they're impressed with the building. There seems to be a big change in behavior. They seem to be impressed and they want to keep the building nice. And already I don't see some of the issues that I've seen in the past, like gum chewing and writing in books and writing on desks. I haven't seen any of that. So the staff seems very impressed with the building. It's a much better facility than we had before. Other than that, it's been a great experience. It's a big change for everybody.
Newcastle High School isn't the only place getting cleaned up. Earlier this week, I visited a local memorial that requires constant attention to keep up its beauty.
It started right after the hostages were taken. There was a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, and we actually started with, we had a set of 50 state flags, and they were just little things, and we put them on display right out in the front, and everybody just was beeping and yelling and screaming and said this is great, blah blah, all that. And we put 100 up at once to mark the 100th day, and we had some people in that they were parents of the hostages, and we just kept, every day kept going, and we just arrived at 444.
Lots of people come here every day to see the avenue of 444 flags. But what most of them don't realize is the amount of time it takes to keep this place beautiful.
We have certain peak times when we do all the work on them. Like we change them all in the spring before Memorial Day. And then during the remainder of the season, it's just keeping track of any that go bad and replace those as they do. And some of them you get a year out, some less. You know, it's just where they are and what the weather was that year. Usually during the year, we'll end up changing between 500 and 550.
Even if you don't know all the rules on how to care for the American flag, it's still very important to fly your flag with respect.
And the laws are obscure. I mean, the biggest thing I don't like to see is when they fly one too long and it just gets ragtag and nasty. I mean, if some nice old lady hangs her on her porch backwards, what's the harm? You know, she's doing it because it makes her feel good, so where's the damage? But I hate when I see like a business or something and it's just all shredded and torn. I mean, the courtesy and decency is to take it down. And if you don't have one, then don't fly one or go buy a new one or whatever you need to do. You go to the congressman, he'll give you one next to nothing. So that's the only thing I always notice that when they shouldn't be there.
Well, Liz, those flags look like they really took a lot of upkeep.
They do. You know, we got to talk with that man who works with them and tries to keep them all in tip-top shape. And what a lot of people don't realize is that there are actually a lot of rules that go along with owning a flag that you should really pay attention to. When you're hanging a flag, don't ever let it touch the ground. Only fly your flag at night if it is properly illuminated. When you're flying multiple flags, keep the American flag above all state flags and at the same height as other nations' flags. And if your flag gets old and ratty, take it down and destroy it in a dignified way, such as burning it.
Right down the road from the avenue of 444 flags, the On the Road team visited the Quaker Steak and Lube for bike night and got a dose of hog heaven.
I'm Luke.
And I'm Stevie.
And we're on the road.
I don't stand a chance. It's something
Tonight on the road, we're at Quaker Steak and Lube.
And usually when you think of the Lube, you think about wings. But tonight, it's all about the bikes.
Usually we have a couple giveaways every year. We do different events. Last week we had a Patriot Night in honor of all the troops. There's like dirt bike stuff we do. There's different events that go on.
Actually, a lot of bikers eat burgers. Burgers and beer.
I like working outside better on bike night because you can see all the different bikes and people and stuff. You don't get to see that when you work inside.
It doesn't matter what kind of bike you have, whether it's a Honda, a Yamaha, or a Harley. Well, maybe it does matter.
This is a Screaming Eagle Deuce, specially made by Harley Davidson. Comes with all the chrome, the mag wheels, pipes, and everything else. Been coming to bike night for about 3 years now. Just love to ride. You know, it's just a different feeling when you ride. A lot of fun. You're in a world all your own.
Every Wednesday night, the Lube offers bike night, where bikers can come, look at other bikes, and show off their own.
I've been coming to bike night for a long, long time because it's just the place to be on Wednesday night. It's a fun place to come, a lot of people, you meet all your friends, and they have a lot going on here. I come with my husband or my son, or we get a bunch of people together, we ride together, which is very nice.
They're all here. You know, there's aficionados for every type of bike there is. Harley gets probably the most notoriety, but the other bikes are very predominant these days.
Bike nights every Wednesday night, and it lasts till about mid-October.
You can get here at 5 o'clock, and they even have a bike night buffet if you're hungry.
Well, we're going to go have some more fun. That's it for this week's On the Road.
We'll see you next time.
The County Line's Amy Sassby went around town this week to find out if local residents are prepared for disasters.
Here at the corner of Market and Vine Street, I'm standing here asking local residents of New Wilmington how prepared they are to deal with a natural disaster in their home. Ma'am, how prepared are you right now to deal with a natural disaster?
Probably not very prepared. I guess it would depend on what kind of natural disaster it was.
Let's say a flood.
Well, I guess I live on a hill, so I guess I wouldn't be affected as much as some of my neighbors who live down the street.
Well, I think we're pretty stocked up on food. Owning a restaurant like this, I could probably go about a month with food reserve. There's also a little bit of cash that I could be holding on the side, which is something that you'd want to have. As far as being ready for it, I don't think any of us are really ready for it. It's just it's something when it happens, it brings the best of people out. So.
Okay, so you're not prepared at all for, like, say, a flood or any kind of natural disaster?
Flood, no. Flood wouldn't apply to where I live. Any kind of chemical or anything like that, no, I'd say totally unprepared.
So how prepared are you to deal with a natural disaster?
Well, I'm not prepared, but I have thought about, having water and canned goods and things like that in the house. I have thought about it, but I haven't done it.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Back to you in the studio, Elena.
Hello, and welcome to this week's County Close-Up. Tonight I'm here with Frank Giannetti, who is Director of the Mercer County's branch of the Emergency Management Agency. Frank, we just saw some people in this area say that they're not very prepared for an emergency situation. There's also people that have said that FEMA wasn't very prepared for Hurricane Katrina and its damages to the Gulf Coast. How would you evaluate FEMA's actions or just even our state's preparedness for emergencies?
Well, first of all, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is one of the leaders of the nation as far as being prepared for disasters. FEMA has taken a lot of hits in the last couple of weeks. Some of them have been deserved. The director of FEMA resigned, and there's a new director there now. Certainly they'll be better prepared for the next emergency, but they took a lot of unnecessary hits. The first line of defense is always the local government and the state government. So FEMA coming in would have only been a couple days, and I think they did a fairly good job.
Yeah. No, like we said, Hurricane Katrina hit the Gulf Coast pretty hard. This week, Hurricane Ophelia is hitting along the Carolina coast. Obviously, living in this area, we don't have to deal too severely with hurricane repercussions, but this time last year, we had people being rescued by boats from their houses from the flood. What other types of emergencies do we have in this area that we should be prepared for?
Well, floods are very prevalent in our area. Winter storms, summer storms are difficult for us. They're difficult to prepare for, the summer storms especially. But the hazardous materials events are also very difficult because transportation, we have Interstate 79, Interstate 80, Route 60, so hazardous materials events are certainly a problem also.
Okay. This month is September, and it is National Preparedness Month. What is your advice for the audience to be prepared for a disaster or an emergency?
Well, first, be prepared is a very key phrase. Be prepared. Know your surroundings. Know if you're in a floodplain. When somebody is telling you to leave, they're telling you for a reason. So leave the area, evacuate the area if a firefighter or police officer tells you to leave. And the other thing is to have a disaster kit prepared for your family with some drinking water, canned foods, medicines, things for the children. Blankets if it's the wintertime, flashlights with extra batteries, radios with batteries, things that you can keep you in touch and save you for a period of a couple days until the appropriate authorities get to you.
Okay, we've been here talking to Frank Giannetti, Director of Emergency Management Agency here in Mercer County, just of how to be prepared for emergencies. If you would like to help out for those that were affected by Hurricane Katrina, the American Red Cross is obviously always a good thing to get in touch with. If you would like to contact them, their address here in Mercer County is 247 South Oakland Avenue, Sharon, PA, and the number there is 724-981-3205. Frank, I want to thank you for being here, and after this, we will be back here with more County Line.
Crackhead, drug dealer, gang member, all kicked out of the community with the help of kids
like me.
You can help prevent crime. Call 1-800-722-TEENS to find out how.
It's time we're judged by what we do, not how we look.
Hi everybody, this is Tim McGraw for RAD, recording artists, actors, and athletes against drunk driving.
You know, I spend a lot of time on the road and I see some funny things out there, but one thing that's not so funny is someone who's about to drive drunk. So take the keys and be a friend, because friends don't let friends drive drunk.
I wasn't going to school because I was making money stealing cars. Well, I was 10 when I first got involved with drugs. I skipped school because, you know, nobody cared.
When I first got pregnant, school was not important to me, so I dropped out.
Well, if I don't finish school, then I can't go to college. I mean, that's the whole point of what I want to do with my life.
I still need to go to school to make it for myself.
I think I'm happier now. I know I'm happier now.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Titantown Sports. I'm Justin Agley. Thanks for stopping by as we have a lot of football to cover. So let's start off with some high school football highlights. We'll go back to last Friday's game. This will be Sharon versus, it'll be the Tigers of Sharon versus Hickory. And it'll start off on Hickory's side here. They'll get the ball on the first drive, take the whole way down and score. But they will miss the extra point. And Sharon will get the ball back. That'd be A.J. Wilson, run down on the right side, play there. He would fumble, and Hickory will get the ball back again as they will pass it in here. They'll go deep for 53 yards total for the touchdown, or for, excuse me, on the 1 yard line, which will set up the one yard touchdown. And that will make the score 13-0 until Sharon will finally get on the board. And that will be right before the halftime here, as Sharon has the ball. This will be quarterback or it'd be Mike Snyderwan, takes it deep and scores with number 7. And that was 38 yards there. And that was Delone Barnes, and that was right before half. Coming back out, Hickory will have the ball again. Does the handoff, goes to the right. Gets a good block there on the right by his wide receiver. You also got to credit the line on that one for a great run. That was 22 yards by Pegley. Now Sharon will get the ball back. They're looking down in the hole, 26-7. They'll get a big run here by their man, number 4, A.J. Wilson. He'll take it down for a big run. And this was an 85-yard drive right here, which will cap it off with a little pass interference. And that was on 4th down. And that will set up this 1 yard drive, touchdown, to bring the score a little bit closer. But that will be as close as Sharon will ever get in this game. And now we're going to go to the radio games of the week we have this week coming on. And that will be Wilmington versus Hickory. You can hear that on Titan Radio 88.9 FM. DJ Oakley and Chris Norris will have the call. That game will start at 7:30 p.m. There will be no broadcasted television game this week. And then for the other game, I'll actually be announcing that's Laurel versus Mars. That's on 1280 AM WJST at 7:30. And my partner there in crime will be Rod Godak. So those are the two high school football radio games of the week that we have. So let's start going off to the college side of the football now. Westminster traveled up to Allegheny, and last year they went in overtime and had a heartbreaking loss, but hopefully it won't happen again this year. And let's take a look at the highlights. As we said, Allegheny would host Westminster, and Allegheny will start off strong, as on the second drive of the game, it will get picked off, though, by Jerry Bonenberger, number 34. And look at this kid move. He's a fifth year, was out all year last year, doing some spin moves, had a great return, and that will help set up a Chris Castillo field goal. He was the only Titan scorer so far in the season, and that one will be good from 23 yards as Castillo will make 3-0. Now Allegheny will have the ball back again here, and they'll finally put some points on the board, find the very front corner of the end zone, has the tippy toes in, and they will miss the extra point. Now, remember this play right here, because this will come back to haunt them later on in the game. That makes the score 6-3. And now we're going to go right before halftime. They'll fumble. Allegheny will fumble here, and they'll give the ball back to Westminster. Westminster will set up another field goal, and that will be good. That is 2 for 2 now for Chris Castillo. And if he scores any more field goals, we're going to have to call this show after him. This is the very next drive, and they'll fumble again, which will set up another field goal for Chris Castillo of the Westminster Titans. And this one will be good from 22. And that will tie the game up at 9. And then this is a chance at the very end of the fourth quarter to win the game, and they will miss, so that's going to force it into overtime. Now in the OT, they have a chance to get some points on the board. He'll miss again. That means Titans will now have the ball and have 4 chances to drive in the end zone. They can't. They'll set up another Chris Castillo field goal, and that one is a career-long 43 yards, and that will be good. And this kid is just amazing. He used to play soccer. It's his first year as a Titan, as the Titans will actually get their first win of the season, as Chris Castillo was 4 for 4, and the final score of that game was 12-9. Now, next week, Westminster will be up at Hiram. That will be on tape delay, so look forward to on Sunday around 7:30. You can watch that right here on the Westminster Cable Network. Or if you want to listen to it live, go to Titan Radio 88.9 FM. Pre-game will start around 1:45. And now, one sport we really don't cover this time of year is volleyball. DJ Yoakley has a look on how the team might do this season.
Buzzardville Gymnasium, home of Westminster basketball. Also home to Westminster volleyball. They return only one senior this year, Aaron Hanks, but that's not going to limit their expectations for the year.
We definitely want to win packs this year. The past 2 years we've been in second place. My freshman year we won, so we're working towards that, and we want an NCAA bid. So.
What are they?
Our expectations are always high. It's definitely always to win pack and get that taken care of, and then we always want to go to the next step, which would be an NCAA bid.
Same?
Well, the past couple of years we've been second in the pack, so this year we definitely want to go beyond that and be first. And after that, we want the NCAA bid, but that's going to be a lot of dedication. We've got to work really hard to do that.
Don't give me that look. What does it feel to be a leader of this team?
I don't really think there are leaders on this team. I think everyone dedicates themselves enough and everyone pushes everyone else. So, I mean, I don't think that I'm a leader. I think that everyone leads everyone.
Team.
Well, being a captain on this team is a huge honor to me. I think everyone on this team works just as hard. Everyone on this team pushes themselves. I don't think that it's someone following or someone leading everyone, but I think it's everyone working together to make progress.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Hard work and dedication is what's going to set this team apart from the rest. Not to mention those 4.5-hour practices late at night. For Titan Town Sports, I'm DJ Yoakley.
Hey, thanks, DJ. And I don't even think the football team practices 4.5 hours in a night. But thanks for stopping by to watch Titan Town Sports. Please stay tuned as more County Line is on the way.
Filet sole and a cracked crab for Mr. Studied higher math back in school and now can order expensive lunches and charge it to the company.
Next office down the hall.
Well, thanks. Have a good one.
Congratulations! You can now get college loans, government jobs, and job training. Men must register with Selective Service when they turn 18. Go to sss.gov or the post office.
It's the law.
Picture yourself at Westminster College. Westminster offers an educational experience that is second to none. We've been exceeding students' expectations for 150 years. Westminster combines the prestige of a national liberal arts college with the personal attention you deserve. Westminster is a national leader in graduation rate performance and is the most affordable national liberal arts college in Pennsylvania. Visit Westminster's beautiful 300-acre campus to experience an ideal learning environment. Succeed at Westminster College.
That does it for the County Line tonight.
Make sure you tune in again next week, but for now, have a wonderful night.
Good night.